Hi Saf, it's Michael here, and as promised, I'm going to have a look at your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to review it. I'm going to spend some time on the key areas rather than do every single section, because not everybody reads every single section, so we're going to focus on the main areas. And I'm going to flick to my profile as well and just kind of contrast and compare, because things are moving on, things are changing, and we've got to get better at, as you know, my favorite subject, which is storytelling. Okay, let's get to it. I won't be looking at the camera, I'll be looking at the screen, so forgive me if I'm not addressing you kind of face on. Right, so the first thing that I've noticed is where I always start is the photograph. And there's a good head and shoulders photograph, but I find the photograph quite blurry. And because you have glasses on, which is fine, I can't quite connect with your eyes. So if we just have a look at mine as well, you can see there is no blurring on my face. You can see my eyes, you can see my teeth, you can see me smiling, you can connect with me. So I know you don't need more followers or more connections. You've got a load more than I have, but even so, you look a little bit distant on the photograph, just a little bit distant. And I wonder if this was a photograph that was done professionally by a professional photographer in a studio, or whether it was a photograph that you were just happy with and used. So I would recommend, if it's possible, to connect with a photographer. I know some that could do a great job, so if you want any, then fine. Or maybe somebody in your team who's already a amateur photographer or professional photographer. And there's so many. Well, of course, Brad could do it for you. You know, he knows how to do this. So professional photo, I think, would really help. Then the next one is your name. That's fine. And then your headline. Now, I've noticed that everybody in the Pathway group has this system with the stars, which I love, and I don't know whether it needs to be there at all, because I know it's trying to stand out. That's what it's doing, and it's starting to get a little bit corny. Lots of people do this. They have emojis. I in fact did it for a while, and then I was turned off by it, and I went, why do I need to have an emoji in my headline? It just doesn't make any sense. So just to go to mine, and I've just got a very short sentence which just fits on one line and tells people what it is that I do, which is coaching clients and assisting creative agencies to enhance their storytelling. Short and sweet and to the point. Now, I appreciate that you do many other things, like, you know, the business networking, skills funding agency, prime contractor, and building a consortium. I don't even know what that means, right? Supporting businesses with business growth. So at the end of the day, I think that there's two key things going on here. There's business networking, group founder, and supporting businesses with growth. It's probably the same thing. I know you're also a thought leader, specifically in terms of sharing your leadership advice. So I think you need to have a think about a sentence, something that tells people what it is that you can do for them, or what it is that you are already doing for them, rather than just these, you know, titles, really. So just make it a little bit more friendlier, a little bit warmer, so I can appreciate what it is that you do. And then we're going to go to the experience section in a minute, because that pulls up this company first. And as you can see now, it tends to only pick up the first one from the list of experience. And that's the top one that you've got down. And the other ones, it doesn't list anymore, which it used to do before. Now, your summary, this is where I have the biggest problem, because this is not about you at all. This is about the company. This text should be appearing on your company page, and we'll have a look in a minute to see if it's just a copy of it or not. This doesn't talk about you. I don't have any sense about who you are as an individual. Now, I'm always learning and refining mine, and I probably change my summary every 3 months because I'm still looking for the one that is going to, really connect with people at a deeper level. So my one, I'm just sitting across the desk talking to somebody, and I'm just sharing with them my thoughts, and I'm also sharing my story with them. Now, it's a bit of personal stuff. If people connect with me at a personal level, they may be more willing to investigate and look further. And I've noticed that my connection requests are increasing much higher now. Once I'm a little bit more personal, I'm talking to them as if they're sitting opposite me or at a networking event, and I'm sharing them some personal stuff as well. In fact, there's quite a bit of personal stuff that I'm sharing here. Everything to do with where I was born, about my journey in the textile industry, and then I've been self-employed as a result of it now. And then also I'm following in the footsteps of my mother, explaining who my mother was, and that she was in PR, and celebrating her life, as it were, and then why that then took me into what I'm doing today. So she was a storyteller, which I didn't realize at the time, and now I'm a storyteller. Your profile just talks about pathway group, pathway to work, pathway partnership, pathway college, pathway groups, apprenticeship recruitment. It's all in the third person, so it's not even we. So it's not personal. It's very, very distant. It's a resume. This should be on the company page. So if we went to the pathway group company page, which I can click through here, it's different right there, but essentially that text might as well have been here because it's exactly the same. So I think whoever wrote that for you or advised you on that might have been some time ago, but I think this really needs to be reviewed. You need to be talking about who you are as an individual, and that might be uncomfortable at some level, but people want to know a little bit about your history, a little bit about your story, and why are you passionate about being in this industry? Why are you passionate about helping businesses to grow? Why are you setting up free networking events? What's in it for you? Explain to people the story behind it, because that is what people connect with at an emotional level in their brains. When they hear your story, it's much more meaningful. Then at the end of it, as you can see, the media that's attached, I suspect, LinkedIn have changed this, and therefore the quality of it doesn't look as great anymore. But if I open that, it's a slide share. Yeah, it's a slide share, which is great. And as you could see, it didn't look so great on the profile because it's all kind of blurry. Let me go over to mine, show you what's happening there. So here you can see the images. These are some of them from videos, some of them are actual images. It would be better, much better and better quality to have an image there of something that people can see. Very few people will actually click through on these, and this one has got nothing. It just shows grey, and I would imagine this is something to do with, okay, there's not even any content anymore here, right? If I click through on view source, not found, so that explains that one. So that one has to disappear, that one has to come off altogether. And then there is something here too. So the whole area of the media needs to be a video clip, or you talking on camera about the pathway group, or maybe showcasing one of your team that are talking about the pathway group and the apprenticeship side of it. You've got so much content now, and we mustn't overdo it because people aren't going to keep clicking through next. There's 3 bits of information, three to 6 at the most. So there could be 3 on that page, 3 on the next page, and that's enough. But it needs to be clean, it needs to be crisp, it needs to be visible, viewable. People want to click through on it. It needs to look inviting. So I'm sure your team, the graphic team, can create something there. And then we'll go to the experience section. And I'm a bit confused about that because I don't know which one you want to have sitting in the first position, because I actually don't know who TCI Pathway Limited is. Think, Create and Innovate. So I believe that might be, well, let's have a look at your contact and personal information. So there's some, yeah, it's not even there, listed there. So if I click through on the logo, okay, so new product development contractor. We exist to make your innovation profitable and successful. We strive to finance new product development. Okay. So I don't know, you must have talked to me about it, but I don't know whether this is successful, happening, you're helping people, is it a charity? Again, this information really should have been on your profile, right? So that should be under the description section in here, so that people can, they don't need to, very few people know to even click through. They don't realize that they can click through on these things. So they need to be able to get the information there. And which one do you really want to focus on primarily? I would have thought it was the pathway group. So that one should be in the first position. So you need to change those around. And then the description here is, well, basically the same description as on the company page by the looks of it. Again, I think, there needs to be a short story about it. So let's have a go at mine. So this is me. So I'm talking a little bit about what Staying Alive is all about. By the way, I've now put my specialities instead of the summary page, because I think it just looks naff there now. I changed my mind. I've put it on the company experience section. But I'm talking, again, I'm having a conversation with people. It took me a while to discover what I truly enjoy. When I realized I've always been interested in computers, more latterly the internet, plus assisting people, I can truly say I'm now experiencing my dream job. Working for myself, of course, the first priority. Assisting others to grow is the second. Everything else just follows. Then I talk a bit more about the business and what it does. And there's not too much there. There's just enough for people to scan through. There is too much text on the pathway. It needs to be shorter. I haven't got time to read all of that. I know this is also about keyword requirements. I absolutely concur with that. They need to probably be in there, because people are talking about SEO and keywords. So there has to be a balance. You can have that kind of towards the end of it, have all those keywords there or specialities, but you need something that makes people feel it's warm and cozy and fuzzy. That's what come across in all the videos. It just doesn't come across here. It's too corporate, too formal. It needs to be a bit more open, a bit more friendly. And then the other jobs that you're doing, this one, the group director here, that one, and is there any more? No, that's it. Co-founder and member of board of directors nationwide. There's no descriptions there. What I could click through on the logos. Yeah, I could do that. So I could click through on this one and it will tell me what the company does. But really, I want to get a few lines on your experience section. There has to be descriptions on all of these. If they are current jobs, there needs to be a description on all of these. And then education, voluntary, recommendations, complement. Right, the thing that's missing on here is projects. I'll show you how many projects I've got on mine. Loads. And they've just changed this recently to be presented slightly better. You can now see what the titles are of these. So you can see all these titles. You can't click on them because you have to then expand it. Then you can go through, and when people click through on See Project, they're then taken to the website or things in there. And you can see there's 28 projects, there's 12 publications, and you haven't even got publications, so that should be your blog, your personal website, various other things. It has courses, but projects is missing, publications is missing. They definitely need to be there. I'm sure that you've got honours and awards as well. They need to be on there as well. You can see here I put under publications the interview, right? So people can click through to this, see if it opens up another page. Yeah, so that's the interview that we did together. So that's on my page. That's what I've put in under publications, just to go through again. My Medium, you're on Medium. I'm on Apple News. This is an ebook, I think, or no, it's a blog post. Social selling tips, LinkedIn Sales Solutions blog that I'm on. So there's many different places where you could put publications on your profile for sure, and that would again help to build the story, help to build some depth, some information that people will be interested in, and interests. And of course, Pathway to Grow, I can't see anywhere featured on here. You know, maybe that should be under volunteer experience. But I would say Pathway to Grow, which is one of the things Business Networking Group founder, well, where is it? It's here under ThinkFest, which is still confusing to me. But yeah, people could click through to ThinkFest. Let's see what we get there. I mean, very few people actually will go. Right, so this is some weird site. Okay. So this is a bit of a flash site. Very dark, by the way. There's not much that you can do there. But very few people, as you can see, what happens is when people are on people's profiles, this contact information is minimized. People won't even bother to click that to say, see, show more. They won't even do it. All they're doing is photograph, headline, company name here, couple of lines there. It says nothing about you. Then it goes to the experience section, and then that's it. They're bored. They don't even bother to scroll through. They don't even look at skills. They don't look at recommendations. People just haven't got the time. They look at those few areas and they're scanning them through. Now, not saying you're being unsuccessful on LinkedIn because you've got 16,000 connections. I'm just saying it could be warmer, it could be friendlier. Those are the areas to focus on. See how you get on. Put some time in the diary, even if it's just 20 minutes each day. Think about these. Get your iPad out, just type a few notes, or your laptop, just type a few notes on each of those areas. Just 20 minutes a day, one evening, when you're out of the office, not being hassled. I know you're probably out socializing and networking, but just if you can find 20 minutes per day for a month and just to rewrite some of these things, do it offline, don't do it inside LinkedIn. By all means, send it through to me. Happy to look at those and review those for you. Anyway, that's it for now, and we'll speak very, very soon. Cheers.
Staying Alive UK. Share your story.